All right. So there are a lot of people creating realities,
Everybody's creating reality.
right? But some of the realities that are emerging now appear to be antagonistic to what we believe to be right or the way things should be. Right?
In the mid-centuries, they had a guy called Copernicus.
Yeah. Copernicus?
Yeah, Copernicus, if you want to call it that way. Right?
Yeah.
And he was a scientist. And the church at the time, which was the Catholic Church, said that since God created the world, the earth is the center of the universe and everything turns around it.
Right.
And he went and he did his science test and he said, you have it wrong. Right? The earth turns around the sun.
Yes.
And the Pope called him and threatened him, make him
They-
rescind what he said. Not that he believed what he was saying new, but he was threatened on the point of death.
yeah.
But as people heard it, after a while they came to the conclusion
But he was right.
that he was right. The point about it is that here you had these people in ignorance fighting as to whether the sun go around the earth or the earth go around the sun. And you had a whole history over in the Far East, not only telling you that the earth goes around the sun, but the time for a day, the time for a year, the time for
Galactic here.
a galactic year, a galactic day, 27,000 years, then for another thing. So how the universe was spinning, and then how much was a Manvantara, and what is a Yug, and what is a Kali Yug, you know, all these long, powerful distances, right? And all that got lost. It got lost in war and destruction and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And it seems like we're climbing back out of that and we're now beginning to realize that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Because they say the victor writes the history. So when the wars were fought and whoever won said this is how it is.
We didn't have any winners because the whole thing got wiped out and it looked like we had to start anew.
Yeah.
So up to today we can't explain who built the pyramids and why.
Yeah.
Right? We could put forward all kind of facile theories,
Yes.
ignoring 90% of the facts, like why you should have rotary saw marks on a piece of stone when they didn't have any tools.
Yes.
Everybody was making little brass chisel and ponging to make this humongous thing. You know, I was reading an article last week, and they were talking about the shafts in the Great Pyramid having a certain angle, and they say, well, okay, that is supposed to point to Orion, but they say, but Orion isn't there; it is at a different angle. And the fellow says, well, you have to go back in history astronomically to find out if there was a time, according to the precession of the equinoxes,
When that angle was
when that angle was there.
So you're talking about galactic drift.
Yes, so they calculated it, and it turned out about 11,000 years ago. So there's a whole school of archaeological thought which says that the pyramid was built 11,000 years ago, just before the Great Flood. And the flood wasn't in the time when what we call Noah in 2000 BC or what it didn't happen then at all. And also that the Sphinx and the alignment of the Sphinx to Sirius in the angle that is also at that time, 11,000 years ago. So what you're saying is that it would seem that these monuments built in stone are really books. Books left with information designed to clue you in.
Right.
And so we have a big fight going on with what is the truth, was the real truth, and was the substitute truth. And everything is getting shaken at its foundations.
Well, there's a man in Rome who seems to have the power to tell people what to believe.
Let's keep it simple. And my reason for saying let's keep it simple is because in order to understand the macrocosm of a situation. The microcosm has to get a grasp of where it is, who it is, and maybe an idea of how it belongs in the whole thing. That's what we lost with, you know. Everybody, they don't know where they're coming from. They have no idea where they're going to. Some people say, we die and the devil will take us to hell, or God will take us to heaven.
But the Bible doesn't actually say that, you know.
I know, the people who read in the Bible will say that.
But where they get that story from?
No, that's another story.
All right.
Right? And if you go into hell, it's fire and brimstone and pitchfork. And if you go into heaven, as you go in, you have an angel, and he's handing you a jug of milk and a horn, and you just join the congregation. Praise the Lord! Drink a glass of milk and honey, and you go wrong. You understand?
Yeah.
We're back in the age of Copernicus,
Yeah.
according to how you pronounce his name.
Yeah.
Right? Where we simplify everything.
Yeah.
We're not prepared to look at the thing in its totality. You understand?
So just like back in that time when they told him to rescind what he is saying, a lot of people are telling you when you present them with the truth or the discoveries of truth, they tell you that can't be true. Because they're programmed to believe something else.
Most people don't have the ability to step outside the program. They don't even know that they're programmed. Because they have not come to a concept of I am.
All right. I know you have to explain that, so I'm waiting. Concept of I am.
What was the other reason that Christ went into the desert? If he went into the desert to handle his emotions. It's staring you in the face, eh?
To discover who he was.
Right.
So
what was his final test?
He was tempted with the whole world.
No. That wasn't his final test.
His final test in the desert, or he was tempted. He rebuked Satan. Satan left.
The final test in the desert was to confront the devil. And who was the devil?
The adversary, the fallen angel Lucifer.
Who was the adversary?
Himself.
It's himself. You have a positive side and you have a negative side. So your negative side comes out. And it confronts you and it tells you if you do all these things, this is what you could get. You could personalize it and you could say, oh, he's a demon, fine. But in the final analysis is your insides that are getting tested.
So he basically had to overcome the parts of him, the darkness in him.
Well, what constituted the main thing about the darkness inside him?
It was his programming.
No. In the Jesuit exercises of St. Ignatius de Loyola, the exercises that they have to do, there's an exercise in that book which says, go into your meditation room, meditate for so and so and so, and call the devil.
And confront him.
Confront you. What was the difference between that and what happened to Christ in the desert?
Is there a difference?
There's none. So why would the Jesuits perform such a drastic exercise? Because you're confronting every single fear that you have inside you. Fear of annihilation, fear of eternal damnation, fear of everything.
Yeah.
You, your little puny little self, have to confront that and stand up in its face and shake in your boots and pee yourself and crap yourself, if that is so how it is, and still have the ability to say, okay, let's talk.
Okay.
So it wasn't just an ambi meeting. Oh, you could have this, you could have that. It isn't that. What I'm saying is that everybody in life, inside the ruach, when they reach a stage of testing to move from one stage to the next, the first thing they have to confront is the fear of doing it.
Yes.
I have to step outside my safe box, not knowing what I'm going to find outside. And most people don't like to do that.
So you have to develop faith. You have to have faith that you will be taken care of, that you will survive.
Or you
that-
walk right into that one.
Yeah.
So let me give you a story.
All right.
You're home. You're about 9, 10, 11 years old. Make your wish for Christmas. You get up, and when you look under the tree, you see a big, nice, shiny bicycle. Beyond anything you could imagine for yourself. And you say, oh God, Santa Claus bring a bicycle for me. So right away you have visions of riding down the road. Right? And then you stop. And you watch the bike and you say,
I don't know how to
I
ride.
don't know how to ride that. Your father say, don't worry son, fix that up for you. I bought a book for you. A book on how to ride bicycle. And when you open it, it says, this is the handlebar, this is the pedal, this is the brakes, this is the lights, right? And you read the book, and then they tell you how to ride. You know, you push off on one thing, and then you swing your foot over the saddle, and then you pedal. And you take your bike, and you put on your fancy tracksuit, part of your gift, and you're going out, and all your buddies waiting outside for you. Yeah, oh God, hard man, hard. And you always have a miserable partner. He said, what are you going to do? You can't ride that. And you look at him and you say, of course I could ride this bike. He said, how you going to ride the bike? He said, I read the book. And since I read the book, I know how to do it. Now that is what your mouth is saying. But your soul inside is saying something different. I hope I don't fall. Right? Now, you put your foot on the pedal and you hold it back and you push off. And for a little instant, it felt like you was going all right. And then it started to tremble. And then the next thing is, you're flat on your backside with your knees bruised up. And you want to cry, but you can't cry, and all your partners laughing at you. And you take the bike, push it back up, push it in the garage, if you have a garage, right? Or push it back inside, and go upstairs and cry. And you could never ride the bike again, because you know, anytime you go there, them fellas gonna laugh at you. Or you could overcome your fear
Yes.
and go downstairs and tell your partner, hold the back for me, and I gonna learn to ride, and then I gonna hold it back for you, and you gonna learn to ride. So even at that age, you had to confront what?
Yeah, no?
The fear of not knowing. The fear of having to explore a whole new vista of experiences, right? And if you explore them vista of experiences, 6 months later, you're coming down the road and you're standing up on your head on the saddle and you're calling out to Mary across the road, watch me, watch me. Because you're looking at Mary all the time. She's the prettiest lady on the block.
So you start to show.
And you start to show up, right? You want no hand coming down the road.
Look what I can do.
You get the drift?
Yes.
So right away you define two things. You define your understanding of how to ride the bike, which you get from the book, and your knowledge of how to ride the bike.
Which you get from experience.
Now that's a very important lesson, because we live in a society where they send people to university and they read a whole heap of books
Yes.
about engineering and all kinds of things.
And write papers, yeah.
Right, and write papers and things, and they come out and say, I am an engineer. And then somebody hire them and put them inside the thing with everybody, and they suddenly realize that they don't know anything.
Yes.
They understand everything, but they don't know everything. And they could either go and ask the guy who tightening up a bolt, what kind of bolt is that? Why are you using that kind of spanner? And start asking, so that they could then take the understanding and over a period of a few years make it in knowing. Or if the university is wise, they tie them up with apprenticeships so that during the summer holidays they go and work with the workmen
Yes.
in a thing, so that they learn everything from the bottom up.
Yes. No.
So our society has a bunch of people coming out of university and they think they know everything,
But
and they don't ever confront the fear.
right.
So in other words, when they go in the desert to fast, which is to learn the work, they don't learn it, and they spend the rest of their life bluffing.
So would you say that it's the same within the spiritual
Of
Right.
course, I using the physical as a representation, because Christ had to go and confront himself. He had to call out the devil.
Because I know in the Bible they said he sat with the rabbis and he taught them, so he knew the word, he knew the teaching.
Yes.
So the whole desert experience was a exercise in taking that that understanding and make it into knowing.
Yes.
So that he was applying the teachings
So he never did any miracles or anything before that. He had to do the miracles
after.
after. When his understanding started to become knowing. And even when he was in the effect, everybody was enjoying themselves, when the mother come and say, listen now, she began to understand that he acquired some
Yeah.
and she wanted to look good in front of she read. She said, run some wine on them now.
He said, woman, my time has not yet come.
I may come.
Yeah.
In other words, you're forcing me to do something that I don't feel I am ready to do.
So he had not really made that step
Yes.
of faith yet.
So she forced him to make the step.
Right.
She said, oh God, for me, do it for me now.
Right. So basically when you say my time had not come, it's that I don't believe I can do it yet.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
You see, you have to make him into a human being. If you don't make him into a human being, all these lessons that you have there, you don't understand.
Yeah, because I mean, we put in a lot of things into context now, and for me, as a person who has read partake in the teachings of the Bible and of Jesus, I am now starting to get a greater insight now into some of the things he did and some of the things he said.
Let me give you an idea how you can misinterpret things.
Yeah.
Jesus going down the road
Yeah.
with the partners.
Yeah.
They had a whole lime inside. They used to lime and drink and go and check out chicks and all kind of things. It's right there. It's right there in the Bible. He walk into a tongue and Miriam say, hey, you're coming by me for dinner tonight.
Okay. All right.
How you think she used to come and say, oh Lord mighty?
I don't think a lot of the folks today would appreciate that interpretation. But go ahead.
It is true.
Yeah.
When you read it, and she came and she invited him.
Right.
So what, you're going to make her into some kind of little wispy thing who's have little wings on her shoulder and thing?
No.
I'm not making any other inferences. I'm just saying that life was normal.
Yes.
Right?
He was a human.
Yes. And he passing and the guy in the tree and he say, hey, come. I'm coming by you for dinner tonight.
Right.
He said, me as the tax collector. He said, I know, but I'm coming by you.
Yeah.
In other words, you're part of the society too. And nobody should shun you.
Yeah.
Right? So anyhow, we get him back and he says, I am the way. I am the life. I am the light. No man comes to the Father but through me. And everybody say, nobody can get to God unless they pass through Jesus. But that's not what he said. He says, I am the light.
So okay, when he said,
So in order to get to God, you have to pass through the
light. No, we're talking about when you said, so Jesus at that point had come to a state of I am. So he understand that he was all things. But more importantly, he was the light.
He was the light.
Yeah.
He wasn't the person. The person had gone already, for want of a better word. You understand?
Yes.
In other words, it is not the person. You ain't going to walk through the body of Jesus to get to God.
Right.
You're going to walk through the light. What is the light? The light is the representation of the universal soul. He says, and I have become that. I have become knowing of myself as part of the universe.
Right. So
You see, what I'm saying is that you could take something and you could scale it down. You could scale it down from its grandeur and make it simplistic.
well, it's only by making it simple you could understand the grandeur, because
No, it's by standing simplistic and ascending to the grandeur.
okay.
If you stick on the simplistic, everybody stays simplistic. You want everybody to stay simplistic and stupid.
Okay.
You understand? But if you ascend to the grandeur, then everybody ascends to the grandeur.
Okay. So we're talking about Jesus has become the light, right? And that is the same light.
No, he ain't become the light.
He is the light.
He is the light at that point.
Now, there's a passage of the Bible where Jesus said, "Give me back the glory I had with you." He's speaking to his Father. He's praying. Before the world was. Right? So, when God said, "Let there be light," he was bringing Jesus into creation.
No, he was bringing the light into creation.
Okay. Well, a lot of the understanding.
No, listen. You have to understand something. If you take that to another level,
Yeah.
you'd say that you have letters of spelling, and that each letter has a meaning. All right? So if you say I have Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey, we call that Jehovah. If you split the middle and you put Yod, Hey, Shin, Vav, Hey, right? You put Shin in the middle. Yod is 10.
Okay.
What does it mean? It means that a galaxy that is self-supporting has 10 dimensions of spin inside it in order to time, future, and its sense of direction. Hey is 5.
Okay.
We live in 4 dimensions.
Okay.
We live in space, up, down,
Left and right.
left, right, front and back,
Yeah.
right? So that's 3 dimensions. When those 3 dimensions move and you have a sense of it moving, you have what we call time.
Okay.
Okay, so that's 4 dimensions. So what's the 5th dimension? Here is 5. What's the 5th dimension? What makes that become the cycle of the world? Because that's what the word Jehovah means.
I can answer that question.
Future. Your ability to perceive the future.
Okay.
To perceive the future as you see it.
So that our
Why do you need to perceive the future? You have to dream.
yes.
And the only way you could create is to dream. So God had to create beings that had the ability to exist in 5 dimensions.
Okay.
Right?
So our consciousness is part of the driving force of the universe.
Of course. Why do you think God, in the old translations, the Bible used to say, and he marveled.
Because
Because he gave you something, ability, and he didn't tell you what to do. So since he didn't tell you what to do, whatever you do,
is a marvel to him.
he's now seeing it. Because he denied himself the ability to see it.
Until now.
Until now. Because the more he sees that, is the more he begins to know of himself.
So it's like our existence is a act of discovery for God.
Yes.
But it's also a fulfillment of who he is.
No, it's a fulfillment of you becoming God.
Okay, that's a stretch.
All right, now listen.
Yeah.
So you have Yod He. But Yod He Vav He is God in terms of the life-death cycle of the universe. In the middle of that, you put Shin.
Shin. Okay.
Now Shin is shaped Vum, Vum, Vum with little things. It looks like three rings of fire.
Yes.
Look like fire.
I think I've seen the
Right. Shin. Right?
Yeah. The
It
hieroglyphic face.
represents light.
Yes.
So the 10 directions of space, producing beings that have the ability to project themselves in 5 dimensions with the light inside them, living in 6 directions of space. Now I get you to thinking.
6. All right. Okay.
Vav is 6. If you have He, and He is 5 dimensions, why do I need, if He is 5 dimensions and is 5, and I come here and I have Vav, which is 6. Why do I need 6?
Because you add the light to the 5. No?
No.
Okay. I thought I had
Now,
something there.
I told you just now that you have 3 dimensions. You're living in 3 dimensions. How do you know that you're living in 3 dimensions?
Because you observe it.
You observe front
back.
and back. That's
Oh.
2 directions. Right side, left side, 4 directions, up and down.
6.
So what did it do? When you do that, what did it do for you?
It put you in the center.
It gave you a location in the illusion. You are in the center of your illusion. Okay. So, spaceman goes up in the space in the space center. Here's a true story. And he's looking out the window, and he see this thing moving across. He said, "Wow, wow!" I'm looking at a vehicle there, I can't see at all. So he ran, call his partner. He said, "Come quick, come quick, come quick! You know, come quick!" You know. He said, "Look, look, look at that big spaceship traveling out there." And the fella laughed at him. He said, "No, it isn't." He said, "What it is?" He says, "A speck of dust moving outside on the glass." So he looks at you, finally he grasps what it is. So he said, "Well, how come I could do that?" He said, "Because outside there, you have no depth perception. You are not located,
Yeah.
and it
so-
is alien to you. So you cannot tell what is on the pane and what is outside. So anytime you have to make reality, you have to define yourself as the center. And in order to do that, you have to have 6 directions of space. Otherwise, you cannot locate yourself in that vastness.
So the 6 direction is in order for you to be centered or to have a location.
So you have to define up, down, east, west, north, south.
Right. So that is
So when I've defined myself, I then have a second he. Where's the second he? It's my dreams. Where am I going? The other he is the dreams of the solar system, the dreams of the universe. Shin is the light of consciousness. Put into 6 directions of space so that it too can dream its own consciousness.
all right. So you're moving forward with the light.
So the man says, "No man comes to the Father but through the light." Through your own soul,
Okay.
of which he's part of.
But then you have to conquer your emotions, your animal soul, and we haven't even begun to deal with the 3rd level, which is the
Well,
the shaman.
what do you mean by your animal soul? You see, you
In
have
a fish. In a fish.
no, the nefesh is your energy soul,
Okay.
right? But I didn't say that it was animal.
When I say animal, your physical soul, your physical.
It is
the soul that is closest to the physical.
It is animal. I just playing with your head.
Okay, because
Because I'm going to ask you, what do you mean by animal? Because that might have a connotation of superiority.
okay.
But when you live in here, and all the potongs in the neighborhood running around, all the male potongs, might have one female potong, right? And she going up the road in estrus, everybody following, right? When you're a man, might have one nice chick in the neighborhood, and she put on her bangles, all the males following. There's no difference. The energy is the same.
Okay.
We like to think that we're above it, but we down rotting with everybody else, right? So so that is a very necessary energy. Without that energy, you'd have no creation.